You know, there's a lot of talk in the prepper community of people coming and taking your stuff. It's one of the big fears that just about everyone has. You put all the work into building your stockpiles, building your food storage, your water, your gardens, your chickens and things like that, and you work all this stuff so hard to try to prepare yourself and your family to survive, you know, hard times. And you worry about, naturally and rightfully so, people coming in just taking what you have, what you've worked for, what you've put back. And that's why people talk about OPSEC, operational security, keeping your mouth shut, because the less people who know about your supplies and what you're actually doing, the better off you are. However, you know, it really as big a threat as most people think it is? Are people really going to come and try to take your beans from your food storage, or take your soup cans, or take your vegetables from your garden, or try to steal your chickens or your eggs? And it definitely depends on the situation. It depends on the severity of the collapse. I think a lot of people worry about it too much and think that every collapse, every disaster, everything that we might need our preps for is going to be complete grid down, end of everything, end of law and order, everything just gone. It's going to be one constant battle after another to protect what you have. And you know, if things really got that bad, it would take something really dramatic to make things be that bad. It would have to be an actual pandemic that came through and wiped out, you know, half the population, and food production, energy production, all just completely stopped. Asteroid hitting the earth could cause something like that to happen for the survivors. Major nuclear conflict could cause something like that to happen. But just economic downturn, economic recession, economic depression isn't going to cause that all the time. You know, there could be instances where someone's trying to steal what you have, but in those situations, more than likely, instead of trying to steal your vegetables from your garden or your chicken eggs from your chicken coop, these people are more likely to be trying to come in and steal something they can take and resell. You know, like breaking into your garage to steal your tools and things like that, so they can take that out and resell that to get money, to get currency, to get resources, to pay their bills and things like that. More likely to do that than they are to try to come in and steal your potatoes out of your garden or something like that, for example. So you're more likely to have to deal with people trying to steal things to take and try to resell. Unless, like I said, unless it's a complete, total collapse of everything, any law and order, everything is completely gone. We see around here that when the economy gets bad, when there's lots of unemployment, theft goes up. People start trying to steal your gasoline, for example. They may come and try to take your garden tiller. They may try to steal your ATV, your mower, your Cadillac converter off your vehicle. Try to find abandoned homes to strip the copper wire out to resell that. Breaking into your garage to steal your tools, your welder, your air compressor, trying to break into your home to steal your guns, try to break into your vehicle to steal something to sell. When the economy gets bad, we see things like that, and things like that's going to happen more commonly than someone trying to break into your chicken coop to steal your chickens or your eggs. Now, that is a possibility. Like I said, the worse things are, the worse the collapse, the worse the disaster, the more likely people will have to resort to such tactics to try to actually survive. Sneaking into your garden at night, trying to steal your corn, trying to steal your potatoes, trying to pull your onions up, trying to steal your chickens or whatever. It's definitely a possibility. But it depends, like I said, on what happens, the severity of the collapse, and on what type of collapse it actually is. If it's the economic recession, like I said, people will be trying to break in and steal things like they always do to resell. Economic collapse will be a little worse, and people could start doing things like that, including home invasions and things. But I think preppers spend too much time worried about that, and they should be spending that time actually prepping. You know, I get a lot of comments of people, preppers, claiming to be preppers anyways, saying, why should we plant a garden? Why should we stockpile food? Because someone will come along and take it. I have my bug out bag. I'm going to head to the woods to live. I don't want to stockpile anything or do anything to be self-reliant where I am on my property, or to stockpile my pantry because someone will come along and just take it. They worry so much about it that they don't even do anything. They're completely frozen in fear of someone taking their things. And like I said, it's a possibility, but it's not as likely as you think that it actually is. Like I said, it depends on the type of collapse, type of disaster, and the severity and the duration. But don't let the fear of someone taking your things prevent you from actually prepping. Because, like I said before, if you don't have anything, if you don't plant a garden, you're going to have no vegetables. You're going to have no potatoes. You're going to have no squash. You're going to have no corn. You're going to have no onions. You're going to have nothing if you don't actually plant that. Sure, like I said, if it was severe enough, the collapse, the disaster, someone could come along and try to steal what you have, and you have to protect that. And you have to have security measures in place to protect what you have. However, don't be so afraid that someone's going to come along and take what you have that you don't do anything, that you don't put back food stores, you don't stockpile, that you don't have a chicken coop with chickens. Why have a chicken coop with chickens to lay eggs and for meat? Because someone will come along and take it. And that's the mindset of a lot of people that I see in the comments on YouTube and on my website at Creekmore.com. Don't let the fear of someone taking your things prevent you from actually doing anything, prevent you from actually prepping, because that is nonsense. If you don't do something, you're guaranteed to have nothing. And this whole get in your bug out bag and head into the woods to live, to eat cattails, to eat roots, to eat berries, to try to eat inner pine bark, for example, acres and things like that, and try to live like Daniel Boone. They think Daniel Boone lived that way. He really didn't live that way. He would take long trips and be out for extended of time, but he also went into the town, picked up supplies and things like that. He didn't totally live off the land. But anyway, that's a completely different topic. But my point is, don't be so afraid of losing your stuff to someone coming along and taking it that you don't do anything. I think that the main threat to preppers in a really bad long-term grid down situation would be local law enforcement. And if people know that you have something, instead of trying to come and take it themselves, they might get shot. And they know this. So they will go to local law enforcement, which will still be in place in my opinion, because they will turn from law enforcement to kind of like a gang, in my opinion. They will be the marauders, in my opinion. It depends on where you are, of course, but I think they'll use that badge, that authority that they think they have or they had when everything was going well, and I think they still have, to come and try to take people's things for themselves and for their family. So I think that will be more of a threat of actually coming in and taking, like your food stores, for example. And, you know, if your neighbors know, if your family, some of your family know that you have these things on hand, more than likely they will report you to local law enforcement, hoping to get a cut. They'll work out a deal, have the local law enforcement come to raid your home, take your food, take your supplies, take your gear. They'll have a deal that they will get some of that for themselves for reporting on you. And that's my opinion. Hopefully it doesn't happen. But I see local law enforcement being a huge threat to preppers in a long-term, grid down, you know, all out type disaster. Hopefully I'm wrong. But if I'm not, you need to be prepared for that, be prepared to defend yourself, set up your security, and be prepared to actually pack your things up, pack your storage up if need be, and actually go to a different location. That's something you need to have in mind is if it gets too hot where I am, like right here where I am, if it gets too hot, if I'm under too much of a threat here, I can pack my things up, majority of it anyway, and take off and move somewhere else or go somewhere else. I have a place already set up. I have a place already ready to go. It's not as good as this place here, that's for sure. It's not as stockpiled as this place is. Not as secure as this place is, as far as actual security goes. However, You know, people not knowing where I am will be a great, huge plus as far as my security goes. So figure out, you know, if things get really bad, where you can go. Have your things ready to pack up and leave at a moment's notice. That is where bugging out is actually an option. Not throwing on, you know, a backpack and trying to head to the woods to live. Have a place already ready to go with a structure that you can stay warm, you can stay dry. Already have that stockpiled. Be able to take some of your stockpiles you have, like here, to move from point A to point B to where you're going to go to is more secure, more safe, where no one knows that you're associated with that location. Anyways, guys, if the video helped, let me know in the comments below. I really thank you all for being here, and thank you all for your support. It's greatly appreciated. I'll see you all in the next video, hopefully.